much better. Hold the camera up. Morning, people. A wee surprise broadcast for Indie Truck Davey, who is out the truck and at home in his office in Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. Well, it's quite a pleasant morning, chilly, just about 2 to 3 degrees. All right, now that's the weather forecast for Salisbury, North Lanarkshire. I know what it's like with you. I look at your rain, bloody windy. So let's talk about boats, small boats. Morning, John, the van driving god, still a legend. Anyway, let's talk about small boats, and the outrage over 40,000 people coming to the UK each across the channel, whereas prior to Brexit it was about 800. Why prior to Brexit was it about 800? Because we had the Dublin Agreement, and that meant that prior to Brexit we could send them back to the first safe European country they landed in. Since Brexit, of course, we don't have the Dublin Agreement, so they're all flooding in, knowing that they're not going to get put back in a boat and sent straight back to France, Hungary, wherever it is they made the safe entry. Italy, or wherever it was they made safe entry. Anyway, what brings this Stussy to the fore isn't it what Gary Lineker had to say, but we'll cover that in a minute. What brought this Stussy to the fore is diversion. You know, according to Mr. Sunak the other day, it was a priority of the British people, whoever the hell these people are. I've never met any British people. I've met English people, I've met Welsh people, I've met Irish people, I've met Scots people. I've never met any British people, but hey ho, that's beside the point. It's a diversion to take your mind off the Brexit disaster, the cost of living crisis, the being gouged by the energy companies. That's what this is all about. The other thing it's all about is retaining the red wall, as they used to call it, which tumbled and became a blue wall under Boris Johnson. This is red meat to the gammons. Absolute red meat to the gammons. Now let's move on to what Lineker had to say. I have been saying this repeatedly since 2015. But I've been watching it before that. Started out with a persecution of the disabled here. You know, the way they were treated under the bedroom tax especially. But of course the slashing their benefits, to taking away the mobility cars, basically sticking them in their homes so that they couldn't get out and about in the community, out of sight, out of mind. Very Victorian, they used to stick them in asylums, remember? But it started back then they moved on to the Romano Gypsies. And they've been going at that for long enough. Under the Push Crime Courts and Sentencing Act, they outlawed their nomadic lifestyle. They also, in that act, more or less outlawed public protest. Ring any bells? Anybody you know your history from the 1930s? They've also been getting over after the trade unions and have taken away 6 sector civil rights to withdraw, basic human right to withdraw the labour. Ring any bells? Anybody got any history? Anybody any memory of the history of the 1930s? If not, I suggest you look it up. So what we got: persecution of the disabled, persecution of the travelling folks, the Romano Gypsies, getting away with your right to protest, undermining people's right to withdraw the labour strike. The British Bill of Rights is about to be dumped, but hey ho. The plan was to do away with your rights, but they'll do that through the EU Retained Law Reform Bill anyway. So your workers' rights are still going out the window. But what's this carry on with no processing these 40,000 people a year all about? Well, I'm going to enlighten you folks. Here in the west of Scotland, we have a company called Mears looks after these people. And as long as these people aren't processed, then they're in Mears' care. And Mears makes a fortune after them. Now, Mears has got them in hotels here. But people, they're not 5-star luxury spas. Even if it was a 5-star hotel before Mears taken it out, the spa's gone. These people get a room, they get fed, and they get £8.34 a week to spend. £8.34. But the real reason why the Home Office, especially under Boris Johnson, hasn't been processing these people is because huge private companies like the Mears Group, which is based in Gloucestershire, is run by a guy called David Miles, I think it is. And up here in Scotland, Mears is run by a guy called Barry Duncan. I wonder how much this company Mears has contributed to the Conservative Party. I really do. I haven't bothered looking, but what I do know is there's companies that have who have contracts with the Home Office to house these people. Now, when they've been processed and they're given asylum status, thanks, Davey. When they're processed and given asylum status, then they've got to be moved out of these refugee hotels, given accommodation. But then it doesn't stop there. They're only just in the asylum process. They've got to be granted it before they can get a job and work. So if you're say a young woman with a baby at 1 year old, then once you've moved into the asylum system, you're not granted asylum yet. You've just been put into this. You've just been granted the ability to look for asylum, seek refuge properly. Then you are then given somewhere to stay, and £43.85 to keep you and your child. If the child's over 5, that goes up to £45.86. Sorry, 86 pence. It's put onto a prepaid card, a bit like an Oyster card, and they're told where they can spend it. So these cards can only be used in specific stores. No doubt the owners of these stores are huge Tory donors. No doubt. But out of that £43 for the woman and her 1 year old baby, she's got to feed that way, and she's got to clean that way, and she's got to heat the house, she's got to light the house, the accommodation. 43 quid, people, think about that. And the money can only be spent in certain shops because it's preloaded onto a payment card. These people are not coming here for benefits and luxuries, the way that these idiots in Westminster who are acting in a very similar manner to those who were in governance in Germany in the 30s. We've got to be careful not to use certain words, folks. Very careful. They're doing it for a profit. These people are in limbo so that Tory party donors can soak it up. Once they're processed into the asylum system and then given asylum, they can work and contribute to society. And most of them do. And as they're very young, most of them, then they contribute for a long time without taking anything from the system because they're fit and able. And we have a massive shortage in our labour markets. A massive shortage in our labour markets. We need these people to be processed. We need these people to be given asylum. We need these people to be given the right to work. We have an ageing demographic. These are young people. They all integrate. We have a multicultural society. But as I say, what's going on right now is on many facets. This is red meat to the gammon. It's a diversion. Now let's go back to Gary Lineker. I see the BBC have said they broke impartiality rules. Gary Lineker's a subby. He doesn't work for the BBC, he's a freelancer. He's no held to BBC standards on impartiality. He's not held to it at all. What's happened here with the Gary Lineker situation is the BBC has shown itself to be nothing more than a government mouthpiece and is taking its leaks for rags like the Express and the Daily Mail. See, in Mr. Lineker's tweet, he doesn't mention any particular party in Germany in the 1930s. He just mentioned that what was going on here in the UK was very reminiscent of what was going on in the 1930s in Germany. But the papers were all splashed with Lineker's Nazi remark. Lineker didn't say any political party in Germany. He just said this was reminiscent of a 1930s Germany, and he did say it was a disgusting, hateful piece of legislation that isn't going to work, and he stands by that. It's othering the weakest of us in the race, and remember, there's only one race. It's the human race, and when we turn our backs on the least of us, then we've ended our humanity. And that's what we're seeing here. They actually want to do away with our human rights and replace it with a British Bill of Rights. This bunch of right-wing maniacs. I'm not allowed to say fascist. I don't want the video taken down. So Mr. Lineker, who the BBC have said has broken their impartiality rules, Mr. Lineker is a freelancer. He's not subject to impartiality rules, and what he does is his own private Twitter account is none of their business. What is their business is Mr. Lineker has got 7 million followers, and they are frightened of the truth. And that's 7 million people that Mr. Lineker could influence. But remember the different facets here, folks. Brexit was the catalyst for all these people coming across. The reason why these people have not been processed and getting through the system to bolster our workforce, our aging workforce, is because there are huge companies like Mears and others who are making money through Home Office contracts. Now, I'm not saying these companies are doing anything illegal. They're not. But the reason why the Home Office is not processing these people is they don't. Yeah, that's the question. And who's making money out of it? And I'll just give you the answer. It's people who run huge businesses who are generally Conservatives or Conservative Party donors. I'm not saying that the people at Mears do that. There will no doubt have been a bidding process and the contract would have been won. But there is an alternative motive there, folks. I can assure you, this government's bent as a 9-bob no. I'm just throwing the possibility out there that that's what's going on. But as I say, the evidence of them behaving like a certain political party did in Germany in the 1930s is uncontroversial. I've been reporting on it since 2015, where it pertains to the plight of the disabled and the way that they have been marginalised. And I did say then that the Romano Gypsies would be next. And hey ho, police crime and courts and sentencing act on that road outlawed their nomadic lifestyle. Unless they could rock up at council sites, which there is very little of. The other thing about that is, these traditionally, the travellers here in the UK were seasonal workers. And we've got a hell of a need for seasonal workers and fruit pickers. Wow. Mental. So, there you go. As I say, this douchey is about making sure that you are not looking at what's important. The UK can easily absorb 40,000 refugees a year. Easily. To say pre-Brexit, 800 a year coming across, and they were sent straight back to where they came to because of the Dublin Agreement. Now, talking 40,000 a year. No, 100 million like Breverman said. 40,000, and we can easily absorb that. I've said this before many times. If they think England's full, Scotland's got room for 25 million people. There's only 5.4 million here. Send them to us. Send them to us. We'll look after them. We'll get rid of people like Mears. We'll make sure that only the councils can bid for the Home Office contracts up here until we're free. these crooks and carpetbaggers down that road. Anyway, I just thought I'd try to pop in on this one because it's actually making me physically sick. Physically sick. The UK is a pariah state. The UN's warned them. The European Union, European Court of Human Rights has warned them. The very thing that the Churchill masterminded, their political hero. But as I say, folks, when we turn our back on the least of us, then we've lost that one thing that's left in our race, and that's our humanity. There is only one race, remember. It's the human race. And we all live on this one big planet. And if anything, these people coming here, it's going to get worse. They're going to be fleeing climate change, floods, droughts, lands becoming infertile. Well, guess what? We created that climate change. So we better make space for them because they're our family. There's only one race, the human race. Now, thanks very much for tuning in, folks. If you think what I have to say this morning is important, please share it around. I don't normally ask people to do that, but if you do, if you're on YouTube, hit the like button. If you're on Facebook, give me a couple of minutes to change this to public. I want to thank you for listening this morning, but what's really going on is diversion, folks, okay? You just look after yourselves. And the lie upon lie upon lie are bits incontrovertible. It's undeniable.